and grab your ankles. It's time for Grillo's AftershockXL with your host, Steve Grillo.
Amazing opening. Thank you, Noah. Great job. I love it. What's up, everybody? It's your old pal, Steve Grillo, quarantining up in my apartment in Hell's Kitchen, doing the Grillo's AftershockXL show live tonight on the AftershockXL network. Got two very, very special guests, two of my favorite people in the world. So tonight's show, we're going to focus on sterilization. I know this is going to be very informative in the times that we live in. It's not exactly my usual show of titty and fart jokes, but I think it's going to be a very informative show because I got two extremely important people that are very intelligent come on and help me talk about what's going on. We all know that we have to be vigilant about germs and keeping things clean, which is the sponsor that I have is the Clean Phone. When you come out, your phone is the biggest transmission of germs because it's on your face, it's in your hands, your face, your hands, your face. It's going back and forth. So the Clean Phone, which I have right here, it's basically a UVC light. You unplug it. It's a box where you can sterilize things in. So Noah's going to put up the information about where you can get it. You mentioned Steve, and you get free 2-day delivery. So, but that's what there's a lot of things that are going on. We have to be vigilant about keeping our hands and everything sterile and clean, especially right now when the spikes are going up and down. And you've heard me talk about Bright Shot and have Roy McDonald on here before. So he's developed some new technology for the TV and film industry, but I think it could be used. And we're going to talk about this. There's so much that this could be used so many different ways. And we're going to have him, and we got the great Brian O'Halloran waiting in the back. So just a little thing. We got a big announcement coming up this week. I'm going to have Miss Elegante on the show on Tuesday. I'll just give you a little bit of dribble of that. And we'll just go from there. Been talking with Miss Elegante. I got to get used to calling her him, her, as it goes these days. Got to be very respectful to the transgender community because, if they identify like that, you have to be respectful. Doesn't make a difference. But their chromosomes are, that's how they feel. So anyway, we got a big announcement with Miss Elegante this week. And I got a couple other good, Billy Mira, hopefully doing the show this week. And I got a bunch of things going on. Aftershock Network is getting lots and lots of more listeners. And I think it's just going to get better and better. So keep sharing and spreading the word, subscribing, get your other friends to get in there. You got to get these numbers up for me, people. Use your help. It's getting bigger and bigger every week, so I love and appreciate all of you. Without further ado, Mr. Roy McDonald and Brian O'Halloran.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Brian.
What's going on? Good to see you, Roy. Good to see you, Steve.
Excellent.
Nice. Thank you for being on the show.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
So now, as we know, we're going through all the different phases. Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 1 gets kicked back. This gets kicked back. But we got some exciting news this week. Roy, do you want to announce that?
Well, the film industry is going back to work on Monday, which is tomorrow, and they're going to start. I guess they're going back to work. Meaning they're going to figure out how they're going to rig things. I don't know if all the actors are going to be there on Monday, but they're going to start moving ahead with your favorite shows like Bull and Blue Bloods and Law and Order SVU and on and on and on, because a lot of that is shot in New York. So it's probably the only place of all the major areas in the nation that is going back to work right away, because California most certainly is not, and I don't think New Orleans is not. And
what about Atlanta?
I don't. That's funny because they're fighting amongst themselves down there. So, like the mayor instituted a rule like everybody has to wear masks, and the governor is very Trump supporter. So he's saying, You don't have to wear a mask, and there's a big rift going on down there. So I don't know really what's going on in Georgia, and there's a lot of shows that are shot there, as you know.
Brian, did you hear anything?
Excuse me. My producer friends, excuse me. They're talking about they've been in pre-production for like forever, and in talking to the Screen Actors Guild, and the Screen Actors Guild has put across a protocol for how to keep safe on set and how to keep crew safe, and there has to be an actual registered nurse on set now, temperature checks, the whole 9 yards. But when you reached out to me about Roy and his company Bright Shot and what they've now developed with this UV light that disinfects, that we'll be talking about here in a second, I immediately told my producer friends who are working on various reality shows throughout the United States and outside the country, actually, about this. And so I'm excited to hear more of what Roy has to say about the new protocols that he's developed and set up.
So I know Roy, and I know his brain works on a different level than most people. And I was like saying, you hate to jump on saying that there's a pandemic, there's a way to make money off of it, but there is. And Roy came up with a great idea. I was like, I knew something there was gonna be a need for something at the end of this horrible, horrible tunnel that we're in. And so UVC light, Roy and Noah, my amazing producer, put their heads together. And Roy, tell you how the beginning started. Like, how did it start brewing, and how did it happen so fast? And where are you at right now?
It is quite amazing that this is the fastest I think that I've ever conceived of something and had it turn into a product. So what happened was I was stuck in my basement for months, and my company just was dead. I mean, we're not renting any lights because nobody's filming anything. So I thought, well, what could we do to now? Yeah, of course we want to make money, but the other thing is, how can we get everybody back to work? And that was a very important mandate. So right before it all went bad, that we were working with these guys that developed a battery, and we were taking batteries to shows like Law and Order and a lot of them. And what happened was they went dead too. So we decided to put our heads together and develop these 3 products. One I can't even talk about because it's not even a thing yet, but the other 2 are done. So one is a huge 18 by 11 by 8.5 foot high, basically tent, which is made out of corrugated polypropylene, and it's like a slinky. You just take it, and it's I think it's like 11 inches when it's compressed, but then when you pull it out, it's 18 feet. And then what you do is you put a couple of UVC lights in there, and the thing about the UVC lights is they have to come in at around 252 nanometers to kill coronavirus. In one of his press conferences, Governor Cuomo, who I love, but he said, we need to have the HEPA filters in every location that people are working. But the thing about HEPA filters is they only stop things that are 0.03 microns, very, very small, or larger. And coronavirus or COVID-19 can be as little as 0.01 microns, which means it can get through the filter. So what we did was we developed a system where it will go through a HEPA filter, and then it goes through a UVC light, which will zap it. And then the social distancing product that we have to keep people safe on set in Video Village will eradicate the coronavirus, and you'll be safe in your little compartment. So, these are 2 products that we feel are, we're getting the phones ringing off the hook. So.
Now, is this something similar to some of the higher end home HVAC systems that have a HEPA filter built in, and then it goes through a UV light and then recirculates through your house, kind of thing?
Well, yes, on a very small level for the the social distancing one in Video Village. But I'll tell you the third product, just so you know where our minds are going, is that when guys pull up to the set and they have like a 12-ton unit, let's just say, and they're responsible for keeping everybody warm or cool on a sound stage, or if they're shooting in an armory or someplace that doesn't have the appropriate HVAC system. What we do is we let the HVAC do its job and heat and cool the air, and then we put a really high industrial fan in front of it, because the problem that these guys are going to have right off the bat is if you just put the air conditioning or the heat through the HEPA filter, it's not strong enough, and it's going to start building up. And then once it goes all the way down the line and gets back to where it originated from, the motor is going to start ramping up, harder to try and get the wind through,
right,
and ultimately will burn out the motor. So what we're doing is we're taking that air which exists already, and it's the right temperature, and we ram it through a HEPA filter. And then we put it through what's called the kill zone, which is really the UVC lights, and then drop it into the appropriate space. and then everybody can breathe that air and feel really, really safe about being in that environment. What are you laughing at? What'd you do?
My cat, I just picked him up, and he all of a sudden decided he wanted to get off, and his claw was stuck in my pec, and he started like going crazy, and I'm sitting there trying not to scream.
I heard you go up.
Yeah, I was like, no. Then he's like, starts wriggling around. He almost ripped my whole fucking pec off.
quick, take that sterilizing light. And throw it on.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe Brian, you can chime in on this. Explain what's going on in the movie sets and like the zones and everything. What's going to happen on sets as of right now?
Well, like I said, the Screen Actors Guild has developed a protocol with the medical professionals that they work with, and just saying, in keeping social distancing and stuff like that, and holding areas for where actors are held before going onto a set, their dressing rooms and things like that. Makeup departments are going to have to sterilize constantly. I think each individual actor will have their own set of makeup brushes and makeup kit, which is usually what happens anyway with big budget movies. But sometimes these independent films, you can't really quite afford to have every single actor have their own makeup kit and stuff like that. But things like this, knowing that you can let them sit in front of a light for a period of time to disinfect and then trust, everybody's still going to wear masks, meaning like, the makeup artists and the costume designers and stuff like that. Masks are probably still going to be a thing that you're going to see a lot on set. It's just that you're going to see the holding area, video village, things like that being spread out a little bit further. It'll be tough if you're shooting in a location like in the interior of an actual house or the interior of whatever. But once someone's getting a text message from Yoda.
Yes, yeah. So, do you know anybody who's actually writing script and changing the script to adjust to this current situation? You think there's going to be a lot of rewrites so they could maybe not have so much background or not be on the street as much?
I'm not seeing. I have a lot of friends, writer friends, who are writing. They are taking advantage of this and writing, but I'm not hearing anything that they're specifically changing things. Because remember, I think once we get to a point where we have an actual viable vaccine and viable treatment options for this, you're probably going to see things go back to a certain normal. Now, look, after 9/11, behaviors changed. Airport security changed, a whole bunch of different things for security against terrorism changed the world. This, I think, is that kind of a world event where you're just going to see systems change and accommodate and adapt to this new world that we're now living in. Now that, viruses that have been on this planet for billions of years and germs, we now just seriously do have to take more seriously than ever before in the workplace, especially. So as far as changing scripts, I have not heard of that yet.
Now, Roy, what's going on in sets for people I was trying to get to is to get to one, zone A is going to be the main place where all the magic happens. And then there's going to be a zone B where it's non-essential people that don't have to be on set. And then there's going to be zone C, more like a production office type thing. But that's where you kind of came up with the concept for like those tents are pretty much clean tunnels to get onto set, right? Yeah,
well, I have to be very frank about one thing. The place where you bring all the equipment into, so in other words, you arrive to the soundstage, and right there's this huge tent, and if they're smart, they would put the entrance of it against the door. You load the equipment in there. You don't go in there, because if you go in there, it's gonna be like you laid out in the sun for 8 or 10 hours with no sunscreen. You'll get burned up. So it's very important that the only thing that goes in there is the equipment. So we're eradicating coronavirus off surfaces. Now, having said that, mostly coronavirus is contracted through the air, right? We give it to each other. That's why we're wearing these masks. So for that, what we've done is we've taken a small little tent and we've divided it in half. And then one person works in one person works in another. And there's a bunch of screens on one side, that's the cameras. And on the other screen is kind of like what we're doing now with a Zoom interview. And then you can get to anybody you want to. Now, what we do is we take that smaller thing that Brian was talking about earlier, through the HEPA filter, through the little kill zone, And what happens is once you start to put the air in there, it starts to fill up, right? So we have a pressure valve on top that releases it. And then you're totally protected. And when you open the door to leave, because that's called overpressure, all the air leaves with you. So you're not ever exposed in there. So the only way you'd really be able to bring coronavirus into the tent is if you brought it in yourself, like if you already had it, and hopefully, and there's going to be not only nurses, there's going to be compliant, COVID compliance officers. There, I heard they shut down Jurassic Park like last week because they came out to the set. They go, nope, stop. That's it. And they had to regroup and figure out how they were going to work because people were breaking the rules. So if they could shut Jurassic Park down, they sure as shit could shut down Bull or, one
why
of these shows.
Why don't you play the video, Noah? That was a good time.
That's really fantastic, Roy. Now, question, is that the one lamp that we saw being set up? Is it the one lamp that decontaminates all the equipment?
Well, you get two with the the tent. Now, the more you have, the more of those lamps you have, the faster you can get out of there. And what happens is we give you this card and you stick it in, and when that card turns orange, you know that everything in the tent has been killed. Any kind of stuff like that.
It's like radiation badges that nurses wear in hospitals when they're taking X-rays, kind of thing.
Exactly. And the other smaller tent is, of course, social distancing, and you can be in there for 10 days if you wanted to, and nothing's going to happen to you. But the bigger one is
production is done. You guys come back, or they dismantle this. How does the tent itself and everything get dismantled? Light is doing it.
They put that on the truck. And they take it everywhere they go. So,
Roy, did you see that question?
No, I'm sorry.
Ryan Sherman wants to ask a question.
No effect on the. Yes, you absolutely, Ryan. What you got to do is you have to cap your optics. Every lens, camera has a lens cap, and we also do recommend that you cover the any LCD because the liquid crystals sometimes, and not always, can have adverse effect. The same with the optics. You could put it in there and it could be fine, but why chance anything like that? Because you have, you could be having $200,000 worth of equipment in there, so you don't want to be doing that. So you just put the cap on the lens and you're good. All the rest of the stuff you can put, wardrobe and makeup and whatever you want. All the technical gear, all the lights, the HMIs, anything you want. It's not going to hurt it. But optics you have to watch, and also LCD screen. So you just be a little bit mindful and cover it up. Actually, a piece of glass will stop UVC from going through. Just a plain piece of glass. Not that you want to cart that around because it's so easy just to throw something over the top of it so it doesn't affect it.
I see that a lot of government agencies have picked up on this. I've contacted you and you've contacted them about disinfecting, their equipment and their offices and stuff like that. I mean, have you been contacted at all by any of the major sports?
Oh, sports a lot. Major League Baseball called, and Fox Sports is considering it, and a lot. And it's funny you mentioned military because all the guys that I'm working with on this side of the project, you got to remember, we're a light company that just went dead. So I said we got to figure something out. So we took a bunch of companies and kind of pulled them together and said, okay, let's do this. And a lot of them are military guys. They were ex-Marines or all of them are engineers. So we're just making sure that everybody gets back to work.
I mean, I could see the application on naval ships alone, where certain areas of a ship are quarantined for 24 hours or whatever amount of time is to move these lights through different quarters of a ship, and same thing with office buildings. I think I saw on the news that the New York City subway system is putting on their buses and their trains as well.
Sure, the trains, they get it, I think, every night. And absolutely. And I have to, it's not that we decided to be opportunistic and jump on something that, making money off of it.
But there was a need.
But and the other thing is too, we're taking a big chance because you were right before. If it, like next month they have a vaccine, and all of a sudden, you forget we're the United States of amnesia. So when this shit's over, they're not going to remember it. They're going to go, we're business as usual. So
I don't know about that. I think you're downplaying this. How this is going to affect people for many years to come. They're not just going to go, it's over with. Yay! I think there's going to be procedures that are going to be adapted forever.
Steve, I hope you're right because, that's the thing. Being vigilant and being cautious and pragmatic, these are all things that if we just stay the course, then we're not going to get, all those deaths that we saw. It's all seeing all those tractor trailers in New York City filled with bodies. Like I live in a place called Andover, New Jersey, Byram Township, but right next door is Andover. We have the same post office, and you saw it on the national news. There was a old folks home here in Andover, New Jersey, and there was, I forget, 60 bodies or some crazy number like that. So they went up there and shut them down, and so it just for certain people, like older people that have preconditions.
Right. I mean, if these type of lights can be produced in a massive quantity for a consumer level price point, this is something that someone could take in their home and do deep cleanings of their home, or companies like Stanley Steamer or whatever can then come to your house just like, I'd like to have all my rugs deep steamed or deep cleaned. You can do this with the lights just to give yourself that peace of mind. Now, granted, just like the virus, you can go and get a COVID test negative today, encounter some environment or some person who has it, and the next thing you know, you're bringing it home and you've infected your whole house again. So if this is something, that you say that can do this and does do this, and it can be done in a commercial, rather a consumer level, people will be buying these like crazy.
And that's true. But all you got to do is get out of the house or out of the room at least, because the good news is you'll get really burned if you get in front of those lights, the powerful ones. But as soon as you shut it off, there's no radiation. It's not like if you went in with a Geiger counter, you'd be like, holy shit.
Listen, when I was a kid and we lived in the Bronx and we had to bomb our apartment for bugs, we all had to leave for a couple of hours. So leaving the house to get a deep cleaning of some sort.
That explains a lot. You went back a little too soon, didn't you, Brian?
I actually have a question for you, Brian, because you're a noticeable person. If you walk into 7-Eleven, I'm sure people go, hey, So how are you going to deal with I think I asked this of Mike Starr. So how are you going to deal with the interaction, the fans that just go, oh my God, and they want to put their arm around you, or they want to get an autograph, or a selfie, or whatever they do.
Literally, I was we had a birthday barbecue get together just yesterday. I was down in Red Bank, New Jersey for a friend of us. There was about 12 of us, and we all literally the entire backyard. We all had different areas. There was the fire pit area with, anerotic chairs, and then there was the table with the food on it, and then a separate in the house in their mudroom, which was attached to their garage, was the only really room that anybody went into to get things. Like there was a fridge in there to get drinks and stuff like that. And we've known each other for like, nearly 20 years, and it was really weird not to hug someone for their hey happy birthday and stuff like that. And it's just gonna be that type of thing once again until we've come up with some sort of very viable treatment and or vaccine that we can take care of this in that type of way. We just got to do this. I mean, you just got to do it. And the same thing is going to be on sets. Now, look, is there going to be a lot more, probably the DP is probably going to do a lot more single shots of actors talking to other actors, and then it's all going to be edited together with an editor. Just here's a single shot of me talking in a separate location, there's a single shot of Roy, and there's a single shot of Mike, and then the editor will put it together like we're all in the same room.
I think I really meant though, not so much in a controlled environment like you and your buddies getting together, but I mean fans,
because I had a bunch of Comic-Cons set up for this whole year, and this was the first year that Jeff Anderson, who played Randall from Clerks, came out on the road. Literally the ending of January, beginning of February, we had one show, and then towards the ending of March into the end of February into March was another one, and those were the only two we did because this thing then started to hit really hard and things got locked down. And so I'm hearing even from convention promoters and the mitigations that they're trying to achieve, a lot of hand sanitizer stations, photo ops. You're now just standing next to each other. There's not going to be at all intimate arms around each other kind of photos being taken. I'm dealing with a company that's doing remote autographs, this thing called Zobi vshout.com, and so people can send their autographed items to them. They collect the whole collection and then send them out to me, and they also have Jeff Anderson who's also doing that as well. So there's people who are trying to get around it. We sign it, we do a short little video shout out video to them, and it goes. That's what we're going to do now, but getting together, it's just still, I don't know, it's going to be very tough. And if it's people for meet and greets at conventions, it's going to be curtained off areas. And who knows, they may have a system in place like yours to decontaminate. I don't know, but it's tough to decontaminate the inside of a person right now.
When it comes out of the tent, is there any residual heat on there, or just
no? That's what I was saying before. It's like, you get radiation flying in an airplane, right? So there's certain amount. So, but you're not getting cooked. As soon as the light goes off, it's done. So you can't get any residual anything from it. But back to what Brian was saying about getting together, I went to a wake a week ago, 10 days, and everybody had masks. You go to the wake, and 50 people only at a time. But the weird part, no hugging. Yep. Imagine not hugging at a wake. I mean,
as someone is crying, my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend passed away a couple of weeks ago, almost a month and a half ago, and it was only until about 2 weeks ago that we had the viewing down in Freehold, New Jersey. And it was like, the hugging, and you want to give consolement, sympathy, and stuff like that. And they had their mask, and I sat in the back of the room because I was like, I don't even want to be up there because people are boo-hooing, and when you boo-hoo, you're shooting stuff out of your eyes sometimes. And so it's that type of thing where it was just like, look, I'm staying here because I don't want to be the next guy in the front of the room up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Did he pass away from COVID?
No, unfortunately, he lost his 2-year battle with cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, I know, just like we were talking about this too, and I just read a really angry article about, you can't go to funerals, but you can go protest. It doesn't make any sense, the hypocrisy of what's going on with all these rules, and then they change on an emotional whim from this dickbag de Blasio, and he gets into a fight with Cuomo, and he wants to fuck everybody over and it just keep changing, from this to that to this to that. And I think they're using it as a tool to get even with people instead of using it as a tool to save people.
Yeah. As soon as politics gets into a thing like this should only be science. This should only be medical. It should be, and when, here's the thing. If you get the regular flu during the year, like we've all gotten, I think it's 0.002% of the people die from the flu, the regular flu. This was over at one point it was 5.5%. And that is a huge number. 5.5% of anybody that gets this is going to die. So they were right to just start going, whoa, this could get real bad real fast. And it did. You know,
I want to show something that popped up on my Facebook feed. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on.
Who is that?
It's not about who it is, about what they're saying. I don't know if I can get it.
I don't know if I can.
There we go.
Can you still get regular sick, or is everything corona?
So I know what happens if you get a regular cold. You know, it's like you're gonna be like, people are gonna ostracize you.
I was just in the supermarket about a couple hours ago, and someone was coughing a lot. Like, and I was, you know, and now you're hearing people cough. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You know, and then God help you if you're someone who has allergies, because you're doomed.
Yeah.
2 sneezes, you know, after the 3rd sneeze, they're like, get out. You need to leave.
And it is funny that way. Yeah, no, it's exactly that. The bus nobody's been on the bus. Like when I first came back to New York, I think it was 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. Nobody. I was taking selfies on the subway. Nobody on it. I had the whole car to myself.
Yeah, I saw that.
But now, this last time I was on the little bus going to the park and ride, it was not filled, but every 2 seat had one. And I was forced to sit next to somebody, and I felt really weird about sitting there. Not for me, but for her, because I was like, you know, I'm sorry I have to sit next to you, which, you know, like a couple of months ago, I would have been like, it's my seat, I'm sitting. You know, but now you feel like, oh, Jesus, you know.
I have acid reflux, which tends to fire up. And when it does, it sort of comes up your esophagus and makes you kind of cough without even having. It's like it hits you like right back here, and it's you can't predict that you're going to cough. It happens like spontaneously.
Of course.
And the guy who jumped out of his underwear the other day. It happened, and I was like, "Dude, it's acid reflux." He's like, "Ah!" And I had a mask on.
Yeah, I mean, the masks are very, very important, and you know, even when they go back to working in, you know, what we're in on the sound stage, it's going to have to be masks. Here's the truth: if one person has coronavirus and you both are talking to each other and you don't have each don't have a mask on, it's like 87% you're going to get it. One person has the mask on, it cuts it down to like, I forget, like 38%. And then if you both have a mask on, it's only 1.5% chance that you could get it. So just you know, it's uncomfortable. I hate them too, man. But you know, until they figure it out, you know.
You know what's more uncomfortable, I hear? Being put on a ventilator. Yeah.
But you know what's really comfortable, Brian? I bought stock in Moderna about like 3 months ago, so that's comfortable. They're leading the way in the.
I don't want to take advantage of this coronavirus, but I gotta.
It's like insurance. We know you love them, but wouldn't a new Mercedes in the house be nice too?
You know, it was just very simply, if from the leadership from the top came down and just said, "Look, this is going to be tough sledding for a couple of months. If we can really just put a mask on, wash our hands, don't touch your face, stay 6 feet apart." Literally, it's 3 rules, and people lost their shit. And I say to those same people, you do go in your car, you do take that thing that's over your shoulder and then click it at your waist, right? And you drive, and it doesn't, you know, big boobed women aren't going, "It pushes on my nipples too hard. I don't want to wear the seatbelt." Why? Why do you want to wear a seatbelt? Because of that one time you're going to get into an accident and you may go through a windshield. Yep. That's it. It's the same thing with these masks, man. It's just, you may never run into someone who has it, but if that one person does, it's not that great.
They're all over my apartment.
You know, it's funny, Brian, that you said that, because Ralph Nader is the reason that we have seatbelts in cars. I mean, he was the one that marched on Washington, and people did do that back then.
No, of course, every change has the people going, "I don't want to do it." I'm sure there was the one guy in the caves like, "I don't want to go in water and wash self. I like how I smell."
Yeah.
The funny thing is,
they'd be like, "TikTok, you need to go in river."
The funny thing of when Ralph Nader,
dead on accent of caveman. Just
yeah. That's what you went to school for, to study that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the funny thing about him is from that standpoint, he's like an American hero, right? All the cars have seatbelts because of Ralph Nader.
Yeah.
You can agree with him or not agree with him. So he wants to run for president in 2000, and they won't let him debate. And then he goes to Ohio State University with a ticket to watch the debate, and they wouldn't let him in. And I thought, motherfucker, the guy, if it wasn't for him, so many more people would be dead. You know, let him go watch the thing. You know, America, you got to love it.
It's just,
America.
It is. I mean, and that's why we live. We love this country. We live here. We're allowed to have these opinions and say it. You may be called fake news and all sorts of things, but you can scream at me all you want as long as you have a mask on. I'm cool with it. I mean, I can't help you. I can't help it, but on my Twitter and my Instagram feed, and I'm seeing these daily, like 20 to 30 videos of these arguments with people in stores or people, whatever, just saying like, I'm not wearing a mask.
That's my right.
It's my right. And there, a lot of them are coming from states that are in massive outbreaks, like Arizona and Florida and certain sections of California and the Gulf Coast states like Mississippi and Alabama. And I'm like, look, man, we're not telling you to wear a communist China t-shirt while drinking North Korean beer and listening to K-pop music. Dude, do what you want to do. Just put a fabric over your face. It's not like it's a burqa or something and you're having you have to do a pledge to Allah or to the Quran. It's a health thing, bro. I mean, these are the same people like that white piece of rolled up paper in your bathroom.
Yeah.
The reason we use it is health and hygiene, right? I'm not saying that your rear end is not worth an American flag. It's just weird.
So Brian, I'm sorry. Have you heard from anybody from the crew, like Kevin and Jay? Are they doing all good and stuff?
Yeah, everybody's good. Kevin has been on TBS. There's a show called Celebrity Show Off where Kevin is producing his version of a sitcom, and it's about him, his wife, his daughter, and the daughter has asked Kevin for her boyfriend to live with them during this whole pandemic quarantine, and his in-laws, his mother-in-law and his father-in-law, live in the apartment in the house as well. And so it's a very funny comedic sitcom that Kevin did. Very, very well done in his house, the entire thing. Jay makes cameos in it. A few other people make cameos in it. You catch it on TBS. I think it's on Sunday nights or something like that.
Oh, good for him.
So he's doing well. Jay is on Twitch all the time. Video gaming. I think he was on today doing D&D remotely with people. So Jay's doing really well. I'm hoping... I'm working on my podcast and getting guests on the O'Halloran. So I'm hoping that, I can get more and more people on a new film that just came out this week on a streaming called Wits End. Myself, Scott Schiaffa, who's also from Clerks, but the writer, director, and the star of this film is called David Lee Madison, who did a film called Mr. Hush and a documentary called Middle Village. So that's what's out this week on Amazon and Vimeo. You can go to witsendthemovie.com for more information on that. So we're just, they're still plugging things away. I mean, personally, I'm trying to convince Kevin to bring back the cartoon series, the Clerks cartoon series that we had.
Definitely.
Since we already had an episode about an outbreak, it'd be the perfect time to.
Did you? That's funny. Yeah. When did you do that, Brian? What that
was in the 2000. And we did it
funny.
for ABC. We did 6 episodes. They only aired 2 at the time. And then canceled us because at the time this crazy show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was only once a week, became then 3 times a week, then 5 times a week, then 7 times a week, and twice on certain days. And so we got canceled for that because this was before Shonda Rhimes saved that network with all the shows that she produced for them.
I did a live thing on Ellis Island Medal of Honor Awards. I was directed each year, and the one year I get the TV truck and the guy doing the switching, the changing the cameras. He says, "Yeah, I'm starting this new show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire." I go, "That's cool, man." He goes, "Regis Philbin's going to be the host." So the next year I go, "Dude, who wants to be a millionaire?" He goes, "I know, I'm working my ass off." It's like, right. Yeah. It's like, they were
pumping that out. It was their hugest moneymaker that got them back on track as a major network again. And
we were on set, Roy, right?
We were on set. That's right.
Yeah.
In Connecticut. Yeah. Yes, we were.
Yeah. They were filming like 3 shows a day. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what they do. Like Jeopardy, my son tells me this, like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, they shoot the whole year, I think in 12 weeks or something. It's the whole year. And then that's it. They go
Yeah.
back. So
All
that's
right,
what
guys.
And I think that's what's going to happen with television and films in general, especially television episodic work, is because of not having to expose. You don't want to be exposed so much. They're going to just cram it in, as much as they could. I mean, they already do that already, but still, even more so.
I think like background action is going to be limited. I think it's like how are you going to do a sex scene with or a love making scene? I shouldn't say sex because it's TV, but anything intimate. I hope they really don't start writing around it because
They're doing a great job on Pornhub.
well, well, I heard that they're all wearing masks and the ones that they're doing now. No, I'm kidding.
Brian, are you familiar with Miss Elegante, Elliot Offen?
I remember.
who that is?
I remember when she was on Howard's when he used to be on K-Rock. And
Yeah.
he would come on.
Yeah.
But I haven't followed. What she's been up to.
Oh, a lot. It's going to be an interesting show on Tuesday.
Cool.
The problem is that she's a technophobe, a germaphobe. So she doesn't have like a smartphone. She doesn't have a tablet. Doesn't have a computer. So she's gonna have to come over here and do it.
Wow.
I'm gonna set her up on my laptop, and I think I'm gonna go on StreamYard up on my roof and interview her. So and John Levine from the Post is coming by. He wants to watch and possibly do a story on her. So
all right.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
When did he change to a she? I missed that.
It's a good question. I'll bring that up because it was Elliot often all the time.
Right.
Yeah, there's my girl. She's 70 years old. She's in fantastic shape.
70?
Yeah.
70? Wow.
Yeah, no, 70. And you just turned 70. So, yeah, I got to figure something out because, it's going to be weird having her over my apartment. I had a very pleasant conversation with her the other day, and we came up with an idea that we're going to be announcing on the show on Tuesday. I think everybody's going to be part of it. I was going to be happy with the idea that we have. And it's a very good possibility that, Brian, you could be a part of that idea. We'll see.
What? All right. Well,
I'll tell you later. I don't want to ruin the surprise. But there will be a big announcement on Tuesday. I want to thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
Very informative, everybody. And you know what? I see that those tents, like almost like if you're having like a party at your house, everybody's got to put their shit inside the tent before you can go in the house or something like that.
It's funny you say that because I thought of it for schools where, when you're checking out the supermarket, the conveyor belt, or like going to the airport, the kids got to put their backpacks on this thing, goes through, and when it comes out
and
the
also
jackets.
I've had my one friend's wife is a superintendent for Jersey schools, and she was having an issue with the library. There's kids go in and they still take out books, and the return of the books, the librarians are all getting a little flustered about what's going on, and it was like almost like a box where you put everything in and you close the box and it zaps it, and then you take it outside the box on the other side. It doesn't go through without going through the box to get inside, and obviously they got gloves on; they're sterile as well. So,
but remember that most people get the disease from to be totally vigilant. You want to do what you're saying, and what our big tent does, but. Mostly it's air. It goes through the air and you breathe it in.
Interaction. It's
Hey, so I spent the day inside because I step outside. It's just dangerous. Like 20 of my friends are like literally on my stoop, like practically. They're at Jasper's, and everybody's outside drinking. I was like, I got to stay inside today. So I binge watched this show on Netflix. I don't know if you guys watched it, The Umbrella Academy.
I started to watch it. Yeah.
It's really odd. But they all supposed to have superpowers, and I'm like, what is this superpowers? Like, I didn't understand it, but it's compelling. I just like, okay, now I got to watch the next one. I want to find out what the hell is going on. But they dribs and drabs of like, but it's interesting. And I just started at the beginning of the second season, so we'll see what happens.
The cast of them, it became a huge hit on the Comic-Con convention circuit. So a lot of the cast members have been coming to the Comic-Con.
What's the big guy's name that's a star of it?
I was just looking it up.
It's kind of famous.
Hold on.
Yeah, it was I saw like I think I went 6 episodes in the first season, and what happens to me is I'm like
Tom Hopper.
Yeah.
Ellen Page. She's so
all right, Ellen Page. Yeah.
I think so. I know she's gay, but it doesn't mean I can't like her. So yeah, but cool. It's so I'm gonna go back to watching that. Anybody got a plug? What's going on?
If you want to follow me, you can. There's my social medias right there. Brian C. O'Halloran on Twitter, Instagram, the Brian C. O'Halloran on Facebook. We talked earlier about the podcast, which you can find on Facebook and on YouTube, the O'Halloran. And then if anybody wants to just send in autographs, zobivshout.com is the place to go. It's myself and Jeff Anderson, rather, signing things, your items if you want, and they get sent back to you usually within 2 weeks. The deadline for this next batch is July 25th.
Excellent.
Cool. And Roy, we got the tents. You got to go to brightshot.com.
Well, yeah, you go to brightshot.com, it's the big tent is called the decontamination zone, so it's Bright DZ, and then it's our safe on set social distancing pods that you can rent, and they work out beautiful if you're if you have those kind of situations like Video Village.
Yeah, but it's not even necessarily. There's so many other applications. You don't have to be in the entertainment industry to rent these tents. If you have an event or something like that, or you're doing stuff, you don't have to be in the entertainment industry. It's open to everybody. And if you think there's a need for this, for anything that goes on, what you got going on in your life, then don't hesitate to reach out to Brightshot.
Yes, schools, universities. I was talking to one of the guys the other day about the Intrepid and all those kind of government-run things that you take a class trip to see, like all that stuff. Zoos, you name it. Why not? Make sure that we're just being vigilant and decontaminating everything.
So, do you remember what I told you? We hadn't seen each other in like 3 months, and then you had all this stuff going on, and now you had everything lined up to explain to me what was going on. We went to lunch, and as soon as you started explaining to me, do you remember what I told you?
You're going to be rich? No.
I said, you know what? This is just like Jaws. You're going to need a bigger boat.
I do have another announcement that I can't make now, so I'm going to come back. I have another product that has nothing to do with anything, and
I'll have both of you on.
Yeah,
it has to do with Chris Munger, Brian.
Yes.
No, right on, man.
Yeah.
And it's a minute away from being completely finished. And
you guys have been busting your ass with this for a while.
That's what I was doing today. So
Chris has been working on it for like well over a year.
I know.
And
yep.
So this would be good because we all need that success right now. So Sterling Assault, boom, boom, boom. You want a custom ring or you want to go shop at sterlingassault.com. You go to Alfie, he can make anything out of silver. Guy's brilliant. Look at the rings that he made. He made me an Aftershock ring XL. It's he's just amazing. Mention Grillo's AftershockXL. You get 10% off. And that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna narrow down my sponsors that don't pay me anymore. So
Prosecco Palms.
Prosecco Palms. Excuse me. You're right. My bad. I forgot. Prosecco Palms.
It's my daughter.
I know. Dude, my brain is like, I was trying to say the right thing. Prosecco Palms. You need to go check out Alyssa Marie's her lifestyle blog. It's everywhere, right? It's on Facebook, Twitter.
She's got some new
Instagram.
products that she's making. These hold your glasses. You go there, it's like a lot of fun little things that she.
No, Prosecco Palms and Bright Shot are official sponsors of AftershockXL. Always.
Always.
And always. And no, check out Alyssa Marie, man. If you're a guy, you want to go buy something for your lady, you don't do it yourself. We're horrible gift givers, especially when it comes down to buying something that perfect gift. Go check out what Alyssa Marie's got on her site. What's the latest fashion trends, everything that's going on. She's just crafty and she's just fun to watch. So Prosecco and Palms, guys and ladies, both go check it out. It's just really fun, lighthearted, good stuff that you just pick up you might pick up a cool little trick that she does, or someplace to buy something that expensive, but you can get it cheap. She's really awesome. Go check out Alyssa Marie and all the wonderful things that she's doing at Prosecco and Palms.
Perfect.
And thank you guys. I want to thank you both for coming on. And
I hope to see you in person, Brian, soon.
Yes, all of us. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll have lunch.
Just bring your lights to whatever restaurant we're going to go and have some.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll bring the tent.
10 minutes, and then we'll come in and sit down. We'll have no problem.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and always we got to so I also thank Battle Chats for helping us out in getting the transition over to the AftershockXL network. Everybody at Battle Chats, you can go watch some of my old shows. Brian, you've been on there a couple times. You can check out all the old shows at Battle Chats, and they were kind enough to help me transition over to what I'm doing right now. Always a big shout out to Jack and Lindsay over there, and thank you so much, guys. Seriously, obviously, be safe is the new goodbye, and we want to say, just be safe out there. Wear your goddamn mask.
Excellent. All right, everybody. It was great being on the show, Steve. Thank you.
No problem. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Okay. But